I was challenged to make my videos a lot better, and I challenged myself to only do that using my phone. So you're only going to get pictures and some videos from me. This is going to be the only video that I know of. But I recorded all the audio, I did all the editing on my phone. So this should be pretty cool, and honestly, it took me all freaking day to do it. I should have planned better, honestly. So that's what our video today is about, is planning. What do you need to plan about, and what do you need to think about when you're planning for a convention? What are things that are just going to show up and you're going to be like, wish I had thought that better. I've got some examples to show you for today. Well, at the very first meeting you will have to decide on a budget. This is not going to be a kind of sort of subject. You will say, this is the amount that we have that we know will work, and that we know we will make money back from. Look at that number and keep it in mind. Then give it to somebody who understands budgeting and how to do everything correctly. Then after that, the budget becomes how much is due now. For instance, you will have to make down payments for each of the vehicles you're going to rent. You're going to have to make down payments for all that other stuff that you've had to plan for. You have to make payments for, the security and everyone else. And you just have to look through this and just be like, okay, this is what I need to do. This is what I need to think about. This is what is important to me. And from there, make a solid guesstimate on when everything is part and just kind of plan it out. That job is both simple, so long as you like these kinds of numbers, and really aggravating because you have to get exact with every single item. I'm not a accountant, so for me that sounds really dull, but I have friends and a sister who are accountants and they love it, and they love talking about it. And give that to somebody who can do it. Don't just be like, well, I'm in charge, so I should be in charge of the budget. No, give it to somebody who can go, okay, this is due then, I'm taking it out of the budget now, and I'm telling everyone about it. This way, everybody understands what is going on and how it's going to be done. Floor plan doesn't sound like much for you to worry about, but it really is a major thing. This will give you an idea of how many vendors you have, how many displays you have, anything you have, and this becomes incredibly important. You just look at the floor plan and you go, this is what the budget is going to, and you can actually take the budget, look at look at the floor plan, and calculate what is needed and how much everything is. Most of the time, if you're using the same floor year in, year out, you just set up the same floor plan you did the year before. So you're just like, okay, we did it this year, so this is what it's going to look like now. And it isn't that big of a problem or a big of a deal to those people who have already done it a while. But when you're just starting, you have to realize all of the regulations and stuff that goes with this floor plan. There has to be an easy way to exit no matter where you are. There has to be a specific distance between each aisle. And all power outlets must be taped on. Every thing that you need to make sure things are safe are set up. You are going to have a fire marshal walk through your floor and tell you whether or not you are safe. So this floor plan has got to be not just well designed, but safe. If you look at it, you start to realize that it really begins to resemble a game of Pac-Man or some kind of deathmatch level. We've already talked about this beforehand, but I thought you would look at it again and just be like, wow. And the best part is some of these, the center area is kind of the base, and you're like, that's where the ghosts are. The ghosts come from there. Who are the ghosts? Volunteers. And so it's a lot to look at, but it's not as difficult as some would have you believe. And once you set up the floor plan, once you understand what a floor plan needs, it becomes very simple, a lot easier. You'll notice in some of these that they go, okay, we've sectioned off each little area, and this is how much each little area will cost, and then we're going to charge that amount to the vendor, and it's going to include power and everything else. And that is a very good idea to, make your convention bigger, but also let people see, but also not cost as much to you. So you're only paying for, the arcade area or the free play console area. All those vendors, they're free. Isn't that cool? Power and maintenance are the two toughest parts of the entire job. Are going to be working the entire con, making sure everything works. And the best thing for them is to already have power for the area that they are in charge of. And this is where the floor plan becomes floor plans. Every single area is designated as, okay, this area needs this much power and it needs this kind of maintenance crew. And they actually start sectioning out maintenance crew for, the areas. For instance, I'm a junior medic for the arcades and the console area. That doesn't mean I can fix everything. It means I can, do a power cycle, maybe move a part, and, the easy stuff so that the people who are experienced aren't overwhelmed by what they're doing. They're constantly working. If you see an orange shirt at the Northwest Pinball and Arcade Show, those guys are very respected, and they tend to be the ones who groan the most whenever we go, okay, we've got this many machines, but this machine is going to probably have some problems. You just hear this groan out of them. They're just like, oh no, I'm going to be fixing that machine for the entire show, aren't I? And, the first thing you got to do is you got to go, okay, this arcade area is going to need this much power, so I need to, sign up for this much power so that I don't break a circuit, so that, too much power doesn't accidentally go into a machine and blow something in there. And I mean, it's just a big headache. So you look at the floor plan and you go, okay, these are where the machines are going to be. This machine is going to take up a lot of power because I've learned that from the experience. And, I've got to work with this, and I've got to do this, and I've got to work with this. And that's part of the planning. And then during the show itself, you're going to already have your equipment ready. You're going to have any spare parts ready, and you're going to have everything ready for the absolute headache that is having to fix every single frickin' machine. I have had shows where they didn't have somebody on hand to fix the machines all the time, and it was a nightmare. It was an honest to goodness nightmare. I was able to do it. I was able to keep up, and I've gotten a lot better since then. But I've got to tell you, my respect for these guys is top notch. I wish I could be like them someday. I've already been chewed out because I'm still a junior instead of a major, and I've been chewed out a couple times. And it's honestly annoying because they're right, I can't quite get this thing, or I can't figure this out, which makes me dangerous if I try to fix it until I learn how. But yeah, the basic stuff I can do. And, that means part of your maintenance is just before the show, you ask everybody to bring their machines over so that you can get them fixed so that they don't break down during the show. And that is a brilliant idea for those people who hear it, but they don't really think about it. They don't think that, power cords are important, or that getting everything fixed up and ready to go is important. And sometimes you just have to deal with a headache. Oh, man. I could tell stories here. But for planning, you get all the machines fixed up and ready to go so that they are top-notch, because they are going to be played constantly. Any display you have, you've got it all planned out and ready, and you've got all the power requirements written out so that you do not have to go in knowing that you're going to have a broken machine as you're working. So yeah, power and maintenance. Usually the same guy because it's the same headache. Shipping is the other one that is going to just take a ton of time. It takes an entire day or two to get everything shipping from storage into the floor space, and then vice versa at the end of the show. And that just takes a lot of work and a lot of preparation. So when you're planning this out, you're planning out where everything will be kept before the show, such things as storage lockers and places that can be accessed and safely for you. Many of the people who run shows also have shops or have their own storage area, so you can just keep it there, and you just kind of go, okay, this is what we're going to do. This is where we're going to grab. We're going to put this into a specific order. We're going to ask for budget so that we can ship it over from there, and each item will come in, and then you have to have everything ready for when it arrives. And let me go back a little bit. The people who ship, who are doing the shipping, who are doing the movement, they basically spend the entire day driving their trucks from location to location, picking up items, bringing them back, letting somebody unpack for them, and then driving off to get something else. And they start off the day before everything is set up, and they end the day after everything is taken down. They're really hard workers, and there is no question in anybody's mind that they are excellent at what they do. Then, when they get there, you have to have all the equipment ready to move things around. I've got pictures here going of hand trucks. Those things are perfect for arcade machines. And then you have to, set up the arcade machines. The arcade machines, the vids are easy, but for the pinball, you need special balances on them. You need levels for them. You need, wrenches. You need all sorts of things so that each part can be maintained. So you just got to grab all of those parts, and you got to get everything wrapped, and you got to have everything ready before you even arrive, so that when you say, okay, go, everything just kind of moves smoothly. And that's the basic plan. You store it, you make sure it's kept safe in storage, and that when it moves, it can be moved in a good, orderly pace, and that when it arrives, it can be taken care of quickly. And for every show I've been in, each one has come up with a really cool idea, and I've made sure to take each cool idea and bring it to the other shows. So that way, each show can actually build off of each other. And they really do this a lot. So shipping and storage, it already sounds big, and it really is, because that's an entire section of the show you'll probably never see, but is very, very important. I think the quickest amount of time I've ever done for setting up a show was 12 hours, and that was a very small show. Everything else takes at least 1 day to 2 days, and possibly even 3 days. The 3-day one was just kind of bad, but let's not get into that. So, try to imagine everything you need to set up, and then go in reverse on how to do it. Volunteers are important in so many ways. First off, for the most part, they work for free, or they work for minimum wage, which will really help you out. You won't have to give them a hotel or anything like that. Or even if you do have to give them a hotel, they're going to be there very dedicated and ready to go. You promise them a couple perks that you would get anyway, and they will give you the world. The problem is you have to recognize the differences between a person who can do a job and a person who is new to the job, and you have to kind of keep those even. For example, when you're doing the setup, you need as many bodies as you can, but that doesn't mean everybody there will know what they're doing. So you're going to have to make sure that those new volunteers are given somebody to kind of teach them how to do stuff. A Toby or me, or I actually have to teach everybody at the Portland Retro Gaming Expo how to move machines in and out, and proper maintenance and stuff for the volunteers. And so it comes in a ranking system, which I'm going to talk about later in another video, but they do have a ranking system, and you have to realize that this ranking system is needed. Then you have volunteers for just about anything, guarding the door, making sure that everybody is all right, just walking by the vendors and checking how they're doing, making sure all the machines are working, which can catch you a little off guard because people are like, "Oh, is he playing too much?" No, he's just making sure the machine's okay, or okay, we've got a bit of a lull going on. Yeah, go play a game and come back. But you also have to make sure that these people are ready. And when you're planning this out, you pretty much have people who are good at it, and then you have a sign-up sheet. And the sign-up sheet is basically for, I don't know how to say this correctly, the newbies, the people who don't know what they're doing, so they're just like, I'm going to try this, I'm going to try this, I'm going to try this. And they sign up for this stuff, and they are considered important in the way that they are doing things. And I have seen people go from the absolute bottom to the next year being pretty high at the top. They showed their dedication, so suddenly they're in charge. One show, I arrived, I was the new guy, but I was the most experienced guy there because of all the conventions I had just done, so they just gave me a ton of responsibility. And so that is something that happens, is you sign up, but really you're kind of there, you're kind of trying things out. And once you proved yourself, or that you found a place that you're good at, you just tell them, I'm going to come back next year and do this. And they'll be like, okay, see you next year. And you don't even need to sign up. You should, but you don't. They're going to recognize you as soon as you come in. And I wasn't even signed up for half the setups for the shows I've done, and they're just like, no, you're in. Get in. We know who you are. You're experienced. And that is a major, major part of volunteers, Get everybody signed up. Make sure you have enough people for each position. Make sure that, the experienced people are there to teach the inexperienced people. See who is showing some good jobs. And then also watch out for burnout. Your volunteers can burn out pretty easily. So you have to be ready to take them to a lounge or make sure they go eat something. Make sure that they're taken care of, because if they don't, they kind of disappear. And you have to tell people, and you have to make sure that, they tell you what's going on, who's going with what, how things are moving. And, oh man, I had one guy, he just disappeared. And we were like, shouldn't you, where have you been? And, we're trying to be all nice to him, but he didn't show up. So we didn't know what to do. And, we eventually found him, and he's like, oh, I was supposed to sign in. I was like, yeah. You never had anything explained to you. What are you doing? Oh, I decided to go on break. Well, you have to tell me that, because I don't know. And if you disappear, it's on me. So yeah, it's a lot of stress being the volunteer coordinator. And then, you just have to recognize that you're going to have head volunteers for each section and area of the floor plan. So you give them a lot of power. And you just go, okay, I will take care of the big fires. You take care of the little fires. And then you have guys under you who take care of other fires. And go from there. Speakers are really important because they draw a crowd. And the trick you got to learn is, once you make speakers enjoy the experience, more speakers will want to come in. I was at a show and a guy just walked in and he said, I helped make Atari games. I designed Pac-Man. And it was cool because he gave me this little spiel and stuff. And he said, yeah, honestly, I wasn't scheduled at all. I just decided to come and do this. And they just immediately gave him everything he needed, because this was huge. And now he's a regular at the show. So what you got to do is you got to have a person who's totally dedicated to taking care of speakers. Each show I've done, there is somebody who does that. They make sure the person has, food, is taken care of, has a hotel room if they want one, has transportation, and also that They get a chance to autograph for people, and there's kind of this unofficial thing amongst the volunteers that they be left alone when they're just trying to get some alone time, which is annoying because the angry video game nerd totally kicked my trash at a Neo Geo, and I couldn't take a picture of that. You have no idea how angry I was. But the speakers, once they see that this is a good show, will tell their friends. The thing you have to recognize is, will this speaker work for the show we're doing? Just because you want the really cool celebrity doesn't mean that celebrity will work for the show. Portland Retro Gaming Expo brings in a lot of people who used to design games back in the 80s and 70s. And they're great people, and they draw in a lot of crowds. You're not going to get this for, if Lou Ferrigno shows up at the Portland Retro Gaming Expo, yeah, he's going to be treated nice, but he's not going to be treated as nice as, the lady who designed the boxes for the Atari games. And by the way, she's a very nice lady, very wonderful woman. And her husband was very nice too. And he was just kind of blown away. He's like, "Oh my gosh, you're such a pioneer." And it came out of her husband's mouth. He's just like, I never thought of it until now. And so, you see this kind of respect coming in. Recognize what people want. A major thing is people want YouTubers and Let's Players to show up at their shows because they actually like that a lot. So, get them some time. Usually, speakers also want to have booths or something, and you just give them a special booth. Some of them will just get a full booth, and others, you'll just have this little area, and you'll be like, okay, we can schedule you in for this area. It's next to the head volunteer lounge, and we'll coordinate with you on that. And it's always fun because that little area might be doing the gaming historian first, and then Lou, whatever his name is, next. And it was next to my booth, so I just got to see what they were doing all the time. It was a lot of fun. But your job when you're doing speakers is just make them feel comfortable, get a hold of them before the show to see if they want to do it. This means you may have to go to other shows to go talk to folks, arrange things for them to be taken care of, and then just kind of give them a good time. The biggest mistake I ever made was I nearly charged a speaker, for a shirt. I kept on getting these weird looks from everyone, and I was like, what's going on? He walked away with a shirt. And then the guy next to me was like, he's a speaker. He gets it for free. Oh, okay, yeah. Because he is the celebrity. He is going to be taken care of. The guy I'm talking about designed pinball machines, and I didn't know him from Adam, but but for that show, for the Northwest Pinball and Arcade Show, he is a celebrity. So that's kind of what you have to recognize is who would be good, and it doesn't have to be anybody expensive or big. For the Seattle Retro Gaming Expo, they just bring in a lot of people from the area. I mean, Metal Jesus Rocks lives in Seattle and knows half the staff there. And because of that, all the people connected to Metal Jesus Rocks will show up as well. And, you just have a ton of people that could just show up and talk about what they're doing because it's a close-knit group. And once you prove that one guy likes it, the rest will come. And that's a great thing about speakers is once you get them comfortable, more will come, and they'll come pretty easily. All of promotion is done before the show even starts, and that is the thing you're going to have to recognize once you want to be a promoter. You have to get everything ready. Every poster you make, you have to find an artist for, you have to design the poster, you have to get the poster paid for, and you have to get those posters everywhere. You have to hand out flyers, you have to pay people to hand out flyers. That's probably something you haven't heard about, but that is a thing where people kind of go around promoting a show for money. And as a promoter, the person in charge of promotions you kind of want to stand out. You want to make sure that there are things for people to hear about on this show. This is why you invite people dressed up, cosplayers, because they make a wonderful scene for you. Come check out, these people dressed up at the show. That's quite the experience, and it doesn't cost any money to have a bunch of people show up dressed up. Free promotion right there. And so a lot of the promoters I know, they kind of dress up a little. The Pac-Man suit that Dan is wearing was literally just him going, I want to promote more, and this is going to get a lot of cool pictures, so I'm going to buy this suit. And he bought it on his own, and he wears it all the time at the show. And he has to design all the flyers and stuff, and that is his job. Every poster you see around, somebody has to design, somebody has to get up, or has to get it there, and they have to just make sure everything is promoted as quickly as they can. They contact the radio shows weeks beforehand and make sure that the radio shows want to make an appearance at the show, because that's a great promotion. You grab YouTubers and you say, hey, come on over to our show. We might give you some free tickets if you show off at our show and talk about how great it is. And, you do everything in your power to promote. And when you're talking about it, you find out whether or not a promotion will actually work. Like, will this radio show actually work? Will this ad in this magazine actually work? Sometimes you go, okay, yes, this is a new thing. I'm going to try it out. We've got the budget for it, and everything else is taken care of, so we'll try it. But if it fails, we're just not going to do it next year. And that is the thing about promotion. You have to constantly be testing new ideas and try to get as many people as you can to come to the show. So 2 weeks before the show starts, you're pretty much constantly promoting it as much as you can, not only to people who are going to the show, but people who are going to volunteer at the show, or might donate a machine to the show, or something like that. You want this show to sound huge, so that is your job. Cool ideas can be all sorts of things. I'm going to give you an example. When I worked at the second year I worked at the Portland Retro Gaming Expo, I brought in 2 hand carts from the Northwest Pinball and Arcade Show. And it was entirely so that we could move things faster. And it worked so well that they said, we want more. And the very next year I brought in 2 more again, and they said, okay, this is perfect. We need to get these. So they actually spent money to get a bunch, and to be honest, I should have continued bringing in the hand trucks, so then we could move faster. Because at that time we only had 3, but really what we needed was 5. If we had 5, we'd be able to move everything in and out very quickly because we had the teams ready for that. And sorry, my neighbor. Then what you need to think about is a cool idea is basically, will this help the show? And how will it help the show? And this is usually something a volunteer or somebody a bit lower will be like, hey, why don't we try this? Why don't we do this? And you just tell them, okay, well, why don't you bring it next year and we'll try it out? Or, why don't you bring it tomorrow? And if it works, cool. I will tell my betters about it because obviously it works. And sometimes a cool idea works and sometimes it doesn't. I don't know of a lot of cool ideas that didn't work. The museum at the Portland Retro Gaming Expo is the closest to a bad idea. And it's a great idea. I love it. But it takes work to get people to go in and know that it's there and to kind of promote it and stuff, because the museum, when it first came in, didn't have a lot of people. But slowly over time, people started coming in, and we started saying, okay, such and such is signing autographs there. And that started to bring in a lot more people and stuff. So cool ideas can be anything. A mode of promotion. One really cool idea can be doesn't have to cost a lot of money, but a great way to promote. For example, uh, the Central City Comic Con, the one in Yakima, one of my hometowns, they knew that they were kind of a ghetto place. So they had a place where people could make stuff out of paper, like paper and glue and stuff. And then they had a competition on, inexpensive costumes. So then people who could only spend $5 on their costume could, walk in front of everyone and show off and stuff, and it made them feel really good. And it didn't cost a lot of money to do this. So, that is a cool idea. A cool idea at another show was they got a bunch of, what is the name of the Steel Battalion games, and they connected them all together so that people could deathmatch each other using Steel Battalion controllers, Xboxes. We had 10 versus 10, and it was so much fun. And it was the first time I had ever played the game, and it was also the last time I ever played the game. And I have wanted that to come back ever since, but they have not had the room for it. And they were like, it's a cool idea, and we want to do it, but we don't have the room. So for now, we're going to leave it alone. So cool ideas. There are just a dozen and a half of them. And, ideas on how to better set up a pinball table. As soon as you see that cool idea, you're going to bring it to everyone else. So cool ideas are just a really great thing. And you have to discuss in a committee sometimes, okay, we saw these cool things. We need to discuss if we have money for it, if we have time for it, if we have the ability to get it. And if we can't get it, can we get somebody else to bring it for us? And how can we arrange that? And how can we reward that person? We reward is a very hard connecting words. So that is, in a nutshell, what cool ideas are. And also, when you're planning it out, how you kind of look into the past and you go, okay, that was a cool idea and it worked. That was a cool idea and it worked. That was a cool idea and it worked. Such and such did not work, so we're just going to forget about it. And, you just bring that into the planning session so that everybody knows and everybody can kind of budget it out and get ready for it.
Well, that was my best attempt at making a video with all the animations and more entertaining and stuff. Honestly, that last part, the audio wasn't working out, and just so much. But I did. I tried. I took on the challenge, and I fulfilled the best I could. Very likely I'm going to try this again, only with a better plan. Catch y'all later.